from my standpoint, immunity, you see, I have these videos on immunity. It's not just about, you know, okay, parasites, of course, undermine immunity and kind of make you, you know, triggered and all this. But it's also spiritual immunity. It's not, you can't like minus one from the other or disconnect them. So both are together. Weakened immunity will affect mental health. Mental health affected means you are not at peace. Any type of other thing than peaceful and blissful being is a sign of imbalance. And imbalance means lack of health. Mm-hmm. So they go hand in hand. Your mental state, your immunity system. Immunity system is biospiritual shield. Biospiritual. So it's not just biological, it's biospiritual. And mind is in between. Consciousness is the one that creates experiences. Experiences that are processed by the mind and by the body within this dimension. Meaning that you live in this dimension, you process this dimension. Because consciousness is beyond this dimension, right? If you look at consciousness, it's multidimensional, but your mind might not be aware of those frequencies beyond this dimension yet. Mm-hmm. That's why in Siddha Tantra, if you've seen, I had a picture of consciousness. To which degree your awareness penetrates into creation. You don't need even to call it consciousness. Creation, consciousness is just synonyms. People may choose to how they call it. So the deeper you become aware means that the deeper your awareness penetrates into the conscious light matter, into creation. And so the deeper you go, it means you become subtler as the radiating emanation, or frequency-wise, you become more potent. And so that creates a change, by spiritual change. So from a person just bound consciously to one dimension, you start expanding and gaining energy from subtler dimensions of creation, which is kind of also you in a kind of more collective state or cumulative way. Mm-hmm. You see? And so whenever then you have interaction with different elements within this dimension, your higher frequency can neutralize faster these effects than if you were just bound to one dimension and to its laws. So when you are truly on a spiritual path and spiritually evolving and expanding, you're supposed to be breaking through the dimensional boundaries so that you gain access to higher frequencies within you to counterbalance harmful frequencies of decay and decomposition, which are prevalent at this point in this day and age, in this dimension, at this point of existence. And when you know it, you take off all these like pink glasses about spirituality and understand that this is very simple and scientific. Yes, herbs, some sort of alchemical preparations, gems, crystals, stones, wood, I don't know, other elements, roots, they all can be like, they're helping elements within this dimension. They can balance and imbalance, but they have to be used in the proper way. You have to know that this root is the antidote to this condition, and that root is the antidote to the other condition. This can detoxify, this can neutralize, this can balance in a different way. So these elements of nature, let's put them that way, they are also portals to the subtler dimensions. Because whatever you see on the physical dimension, it has an imprint, or it has some kind of a reflection in the subtle dimensions. So they're portals as well. So everything that you use on a physical level is also affecting you on the subtler levels. And so we have lost this science, or we just know about it partially at this point. That's why we forgot how to bring balance easily or easier. And so we created a totally different industry, like pharmaceutical industry or some kind of other sciences and industries which are man-made. Man-made in terms of they are, kind of disconnected from the natural flow, from the way nature operates. They are man-made creations of a man, of a not very aligned with himself and nature creature. So they're not that sophisticated. And they, in the long run, can only lead to complete extinction of humanity. Because buying time, everything these drugs do, they buy time. Numbing pain means buying time of not addressing the root cause, not looking at the depth of the issue, not looking at human body as an projection of consciousness or extension of consciousness, looking at it as some sort of a lump of clay. And therefore, that approach will lead humanity to extinction, at least that humanity that participates in it. And even the other type of humanity, which is kind of still interested in natural ways and being more connected to nature, the knowledge is lost. There is a lot of gaps. And people have to spend thousands of years of trial and error to restore the sciences. Or they would need some incarnations of higher souls to teach them that. So they can come back to that. Because human body is a direct, emanation or projection of consciousness. And because the collective consciousness is diseased, all the man-made aspects of reality have been created like a tumor within it. They are the tumors within the collective consciousness. And whatever industries we have of such kind, like pharmaceutical, etc., you may argue that, yeah, they help some people in emergency cases, but they always have side effects. And what is a side effect? Side effect means they corrupt genes, they corrupt fertility. Humanity exists because of fertility, the capacity to procreate. And if that is hit, it's caused, or it will cause extinction. And most of the people don't realize that. They're just, okay, I just need to buy time. I just need to numb this pain. I just need to. And so most of the people live actually in a purgatory. This is the purgatory. This is the hell on various levels. Purgation, being possessed, facing own demons, which are imbalances of consciousness. What are these demons? They're imbalances of consciousness, corrupt genetical patterns, conscious patterns, corrupt patterns of bloodlines. These are all things like that. So how can one person or one group or one society change it? It's impossible. The same way as we've reached here through the downward cycle where the corruption took thousands of years, the same way will be the going back. And the going back happens with the pioneers awakening, realizing certain things for themselves, prolonging their lives in a natural way, recording certain ideas and sciences, and over time it will be restored. This all natural sciences, true natural sciences, will be restored. Spirituality doesn't need to be separated from life, but it has become, because everything has been divided, dispersed, and separated. How can natural sciences be separated from spirituality? Or human existence be separated from spirituality? Or family existence or existence of tribes and communities be separated from spirituality or nature? It's absurd, but yet we have created systems and structures that are completely based on just corrupt patterns and ideas of existence. And they're functioning, yes, in a very corrupt way. And whatever we're facing, or whatever the humanity is facing right now, all this agony, purgation, emotional diseases, physical diseases, rotting alive, criminality, drug addiction, all these different kinds of abuses and violence and inequality on all the levels, is because the corrupt patterns rule the system from within. We separated, okay, there is health, there's social system, there's environment, but all of these things, they're one and the same, their existence. But yet we constantly divide, disperse, and plunge into more and more darkness, and yet we think, oh, we are evolving. Is your body restless? If the answer is yes, even if it's temporary restless, from time to time restless, what is the evolution? The preparatory state to evolution is I learn to establish myself in contentment. And I can't really learn it. I can only awaken to that natural being and support it within myself, cultivate it by being grounded all the time. And then I realize it's not a temporary state. It's not just a glimpse of my hobby. It's me. I am that. And now I participate in this madness of a life that I'm observing around from a grounded standpoint. If I can be there, my quality of life can't be easily shattered. But I could be the tiniest fractile of this humanity. We're speaking about people whose frequency is so different from any spiritual frequencies. And you can find millions of people doing spiritual practices. It's all absurd, disjoint, and imbalanced. No one in this world truly knows what spiritual being is, except very, very few people who have awakened to peace and balance and actually manage not only to awaken, but to align themselves, to ground themselves into that peace, to balance their body practically because they had for some reason access to the sciences, or from within their soul because of past incarnations, old heritage, etc., got an opportunity to refine themselves from within, to detox, to understand how to stay in this alignment. And so by this example, they can kind of say, okay, there is a reference point, at least one person can do that, or 10 people can do it. But what is 10, even hundreds of people on the scale of 8 billion people? It's nothing. And because the disease state is so severe, for every person to start going through all these different detoxes, even if you create again a system or try to navigate, it's impossible because there is no one system. There is, every individual has their own peculiarities and patterns, and they themselves have to strive to neutralize sharp angles within themselves. Those sharp edges, sharp corners, which do not allow them to flow smoothly in life. They have to realize the corrupt patterns and make an effort on the physical and spiritual levels to dissolve these patterns so that they can align and they can awaken to this grounded state. because this is the only state that can be called a healthy state. If your parameters, biochemical parameters, show that you're healthy, it doesn't necessarily mean you are. Because if, again, as I said, the reference point is peace or no peace. If you are no peace, it means that something is off. If your mind has thoughts, if you're drained from within by different kinds of arising ideas, uncontrollable thoughts and emotions on the space of consciousness, you don't know what spiritual being is. I don't care how many hours you sit with the eyes closed and meditate, or what kind of practices, magical practices or rituals you perform. If you cannot be at peace at all times, out of 24 hours, if you cannot be 20 hours at peace, something is off. Again, people can say, where did you get the standard? Well, everyone has their own reference point. So I'm not going to argue, okay, whatever people do, it's their business. In spirituality, there is one rule: peace or no peace, life or death. That's all. You die like a dog, what spirituality? You can't be at peace, what spirituality? What health? I don't care how many acupunctural sessions you've got, how many ozone therapies, how many detoxes you've performed, how many hours you sit with his eyes closed. You don't know what meditation is or yoga is. Then what's the use, right? Everyone is like that. You can spend thousands of whatever money going around on pilgrimages, sitting with different mortals in the name of spirituality. And what will they give you? Nothing. They'll give you absolutely nothing, because they have no idea what spirituality is. They just quote scriptures, quote some kind of pieces of knowledge from someone else. They do not emanate that which they talk about. They do not look healthy. They age. They are imbalanced. They are full of rage. They are no peace. I don't even care what emotions they have. Everyone can have potentially whichever emotions. If they cannot return back to peace, even after some minutes of being emotional, it means they're not masters. They're not in control of their body or mind. And to be in control means to be surrendered in the flow. It means actually having no control, but having that deeper knowing, inner establishment. And again, all my words are just, for most of the people, it's not a reference point at all. Because it's like asking people, do you know God? People ask, do you believe in God? People can believe, but have no reference point. Do you know God? Are you? You know, it's like, do you practice yoga? Do you know yoga? Are you that? So all that matters, you know. Who are you by frequency? But people look at your actions rather than who you are as a frequency. And so when you rise in frequency, the physical realm kind of starts fading away. Even though when you are fully dispersed in the physical realm, you can say there are viruses, bacteria, parasites, and all. Yeah, they exist there as long as they torment the body and the mind, obviously, because the mind is at no peace. Once the mind recognizes it and stops ignoring it and draws itself within, makes proper decisions to physically and spiritually neutralize these things, this mind plunges into a blissful absorption, awakens to the natural state and never leaves it. Because consciousness has realized the essence. And because it happened The state of balance has been restored, and balance means health. You don't need to constantly now worry about the state or condition of your body, because your mind is dissolved in the higher being, because it's constantly absorbed. So it nurtures the body. The body stops going into extremes. It chooses everything wisely. It chooses sustenance wisely from this external reality, just to support its existence on it as long as it's necessary. Not by compulsion or obsession, or because of being in symbiosis, and this kind of a negative symbiosis with parasitic creatures. A lot of people cannot control cravings because they are in symbiosis. They don't discern. Everyone yells in spiritual communities, discernment, discernment, viveka, detachment. You can't know of these things unless, or only shortly. It's like a glimpse of your reality. What is your detachment? Just because you refocused, you didn't detach. What is your discernment if you're constantly tormented from within, possessed by different thoughts and dragged in different directions by thoughts, emotions, feelings, anxiety? What is there as a reference point? How do you know of discernment? And discernment and detachment are prerequisites. It's just like for you to start the preparatory stage, so that you can actually awaken. If you experience your subtle body movements or some kind of movements within your body, it's not always the sign that there is spiritual awakening. Sometimes it's even a sign that you've got fungus in the system, that something is buzzing there. How do you know who it is? Absolute ignorance. The state of consciousness of humanity is ignorant, and I'm not saying it from the arrogant standpoint, because for me it doesn't really matter. Humanity can do whatever they want. For me, as far as I understand, you can only feel yourself as being a part of the whole when you completely dissolve these ties of trying to control time, cycles, societies. Like, everyone decides for themselves, They decide to let go or to hold on to withdraw or to be participating, to merge or to stay here. It's everyone's, direction, because consciousness just knows direction. Where you as consciousness, you direct yourself. Where do you direct yourself is a big question, You direct yourself now to the body because your body is imbalanced, so you're trying to neutralize the imbalance. How do you direct? Because you feel pain, because you feel stiffness, and again, pain is a large sort of term. Discomfort. First, it starts as discomfort, dis-ease. You feel like you are not at ease, not at peace, anxious, restless. These are the signs that the body needs your attention. So focus goes onto the body. That's why most of us are focused we are not focused actually. We're not within the body in a balanced, relaxed state. We are drawn to the body. We ignore it, we numb it, we still go into dispersion. And yet the body starts aching more and more and more to just draw the attention within. Because once your attention is within, you start neutralizing imbalances. You start actually healing, but most of the people don't realize that. And they again and again keep on, going outwards to find a solution. But the solution is within. Just focus within your body, be within the body, prioritize the body because it's aching. Pain and aching means focus within, because the body by itself tries to draw consciousness. What is consciousness? Higher frequency energy to neutralize all the gaps, holes, energetic holes, all kinds of imbalances in channels, glands, organs, etc. Because consciousness doesn't look at it that way. It doesn't systemize creation. of the human body. It's humans. They say, okay, there are chakras, there are glands, there are organs, whatever they've created. All these are man-made systems. But consciousness just knows here is imbalance. I bring that frequency to balance it. I focus on it. That organ that hurts has been depleted for a very long time. By the time it starts really, really aching or almost to the point of decomposition, it means you've been neglecting it for a very, very long time. And yet people created all these systems. Oh, I must be punished. I must have done something wrong. Well, you've chosen to disperse. No one taught you to stay within, to focus within, to prioritize your own well-being. So you empowered and prioritize everything else outside of you. And I'm not speaking about prioritization in a selfish way. But you disempowered yourself by thinking that power lays outside of you. And so you've caused the leakage of life. Pain is a sign that the leakage has been for a long time. So now the pain, again, is just a mechanism of our existence in the bodily level to just bring balance to that aspect which is aching, hurting. Who forced you to indulge, to eat sugar, to harm yourself with drugs? First drug, salt. Second drug, sugar. And everything else come out. It doesn't mean you can't have, because the entire, this dimension, this reality is a drug itself. It's the creation of our corrupt consciousness. It's a dimension of temptation and indulgence. You can have whatever you want here. In small doses, in no doses, in large doses. But if you don't know the science of balance, and we are not taught the science of balance from the beginning of our lives, we're not taught to prioritize balance. So we get carried away and waste our lives unnecessarily. We get carried away by everything. Our spirituality is also drug-like. Everything is addictive because true spirituality doesn't have attributes, doesn't have books in that kind of way that, oh, you have to hold on to this book. This is like the ladder to God. You may read something. Does it emanate anything? Is it a living scripture? Maybe it can remind you of something, but true spirituality is beyond words, books, ideas. It's an existence itself. You either fall into the flow or fall out of the flow. That's all. It doesn't have attributes, but when something doesn't have attributes, how can you practice it, right? But the human mind wants to hold on to something. It wants a pill, a red pill, a blue pill, a black pill, a white pill. It wants to color everything. It wants to, disperse everything. It wants to give it a meaning. As long as you're living through these notions, dividing, dispersing reality, you're missing out on the essence. And the essence and the projection have to be in a balanced state. Then you can say, I'm eternal. I'm in alignment. Who's there as an example to show the reference point? Unless you just accidentally awaken to it and realize, no one can teach you that. People can remind people, someone can be that. And you might feel it, but yet if you haven't established in it yourself, it's very difficult to really be that all the time. Spirituality is being, it's not action, but it can transpire into action, it can transpire into a word. But those are like extensions. It's like you as a human body can transpire into having long hair or short hair, having tan or not having tan, being this or that. That's just the the expression, the emanation, but the essence always is concealed. The most potent existence, potent in terms of creative potential. And creative potential means it also has a destructive potential. It's always concealed. That should teach us humility, because most of the people feel confident or taste some confidence and more balance, maybe, but then go into the extremes of trying to grab creation. What I mean by that is they try to be arrogant. Oh, I know it. Not even a minute fractile. None of us can contain the vastness of creation. That's where we should remain always humble. All the teachers, true teachers of the past, like Thoth, and I'm not speaking about Thoth in terms of what people project on that being today. All occultists are saying Thoth this, Thoth that. Do you know? Have you been there? All the greatest beings who left the example of true spirituality left one trace behind them, and this is the trace of absolute humility before creation. They all recognize that no matter how much you know, no matter how much power you acquire within a particular scope of reality to bring change, to create something or destroy, you're still limited. And evolution is eternal. So always stay in the line. And when you remember to stay in the line, your spiritual rank is growing. When you go astray, you lose yourself to creation. When you try to eat, you could be eaten too. So immortals abstain from eating or being eaten. That's why they're called immortals. And if you realize that in the heart, your mind might drift away. Oh, this is this and this is that. Again, try to conceptualize it, to bring it into some kind of a human notion or context. Spirituality can never be tarnished. Real spirituality that most of the people have no reference point. Because frequency cannot be tarnished. It's self-protected. It stays there the way it is. Because human consciousness operates at the moment, and I mean in a collective sense, on a much lower spectrum of frequencies. And that's why when true spirituality comes forth, it's a different frequency. It can't be replicated. Words can be repeated. That's why true spirituality can never be tarnished and forgotten. Because if someone is true spirituality, they emanate that. The rest of the people pretend, repeat, falsify, act like in a hypocritical manner, but they are not that. And yet that is more appealing than true spirituality. Most of the people who look for true spirituality are actually very, very few. The majority are hypocrites because they look for something that they already kind of premeditated, or that could give them some kind of access to more abundance, say, within this projected reality. They mix spirituality with the projection, and they lose themselves to the projection because of that. Abundance is but natural for spiritually wealthy people. But materially wealthy people might not have or know of spiritual wealth. A lot of people go into spiritual industries at the moment because they see a material opportunity and it deludes them. Very hypocritical. They get nowhere. Because again, this frequency prevents charlatans, fake people, different kind of logical, in a limited sense, people to enter that realm of knowledge. Because true knowledge is being, is not words. But words, which are impregnated with that being, can be a ladder or an access point to that being without words, or which is beyond words. And so there's no point in changing anything. The change happens, but naturally. The more people come out of the slumber with humility, the more they let go of all the preconceived ideas about spirituality. And they actually start awakening to the being, to that higher frequency, to true love within themselves. Even they are the minority. They announce the new, the coming of the new era. And over thousands of years, the cycle, slowly changes. Who am I to do anything? Who are you to do anything? It just happens because creation is in charge. All we can do is just either be within this creation consciously and flow in surrender, humility, and learn by frequency, learning not to ever hold on to anything and to experience ever-changing projections and continue the journey, or we get stuck for a while. And there is nothing wrong. Even if we get stuck, we just learn and become experts in that stuckness, even if it's the most positive and pleasurable stuckness. Some people can spend incarnation after incarnation learning some subjects on earth. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people learned a lot and they want to proceed, so it's easier for them to let go, or maybe not. And some people are just there as examples. They come and they go. What's the point of knowing sciences of breath or no breath, yogic postures, when you can't just be the essence? When you don't know the essence, and knowing meaning your consciousness can just withdraw into this essence. So how can you be anything then? Then you just become a yogic posture or a system or a cult or a religious following, whatever. But the essence remains unknown, missing. So that's the point. You see, today, now, when the frequency rises, or now has been risen, is there a thought of parasites, heavy metals? Is there a thought that something is wrong? See, everything is relevant. Once you fly high and look at the earth from above, you don't observe or even see mosses, grass, soil, worms in the soil, but they do exist, even while you're flying high. They're only relevant once you're standing on both feet or digging that ground, right? But when you're aligned, you may fly high, you may land, and in both cases be aware it's there. But I don't need to actively entertain it. The wise way to operate in this world is to listen to your body and to be there, always aligned, at peace. But for that, we need to awaken to that state and realize that it's our permanent being. And if your body draws your attention to a specific area in your body, follow that. It means that area is depleted. So if you follow these kind of simple, you may say, tips, you don't need to actively hold in your consciousness anything. If your body starts aching, or there is some discomfort, or there is restlessness, so something is missing, something is imbalanced. So go into contemplation, see how could you neutralize that imbalance, and that is your solution. Meditation is when you're fully relaxed and lit from within. Eyes open, eyes closed, the body is relaxed. Perceive the warmth, the flow. You don't have questions. Who am I? Who am not? What do I have to do? Don't have. You just have clarity. Whatever needs to be done will be done, but not now. Maybe now. Consciousness decides. But it comes to attending to everything in the external reality in a relaxed way. In a, kind of a slightly detached way. It operates the body. It is in the body and rules this body from within. That's why the body abstains naturally from detrimental, harmful actions towards itself or others. If you're aware, you can't be immoral. If you are a consciousness fully aware of itself, living in this body, whichever body you have, and you live in balance, this higher consciousness, the higher intelligence, the spiritual being itself runs the body. Not by compulsion, obsession, because these are disease states, but from a balanced equanimous standpoint. Bliss. Being grounded means being aware. You're aware of your chores, you're aware of your responsibilities, of your duties, but always in a relaxed way. You set everything in a disciplined way. You never miss anything. You naturally manage things and yet remain detached and relaxed. That's called alignment. Alignment of higher consciousness with the lower dimension of this reality's existence, where none is harming the other, but stays in alignment, nurturing it. You need to eat, you go and cook, but that's in that state. Your body will be relaxed, your food will be charged with blissful vibrations. Someone is in front of you and they want to talk to them in the same way. You need to pay bills, pay them in the relaxed way. You have lack of something, go within and ask, what can I contribute, or what have I contributed to turn out to be in that state? So ask yourself, what can I do? What can I create to get me out of this imbalance? You need more? Go to work on it. Working means applying your intelligence in a particular direction. Create, make a plan, discipline yourself. Stay at peace so that you can tap into your inner purpose and act out of it. Clearing away negative information from different channels, just say, different meridians. Whatever you have in the neck, all of these are different meridians: bladder meridian, kidney meridian, gallbladder meridian, liver meridian. So just by raising frequency, we're healing all these meridians, purifying. So this transmission is purifying all these meridians in the body, kind of enlightening the subtle light body, meaning enlightening, meaning making it lighter, free from pollution, energetic pollution, informational pollution. Thyroid plays a particular role in it. as a gland, together with pituitary and pineal. It's all connected to the prostate or ovaries. The heart area gets activated, thymus gland, opening up. Feeling lighter. Solar plexus feels at ease. Adrenals at ease. Charged with warm energy. Powerful activation of the root and adrenals. Probably left adrenal needs some purification. To this transmission, hydrate yourself for 3-4 days. You may have lemon water, chlorophyll water, just salt water a bit, maybe activated charcoal to remove toxins, because its frequency may cause die-off or elimination of toxins, heavy metals from your subtle channels. So rest more and hydrate yourself more, and walk a bit. By walking, you also breathe deeply while walking. Your entire body will activate on levels of glands. Your subtle body will be more alive and balanced, aligned with the physical, so that the physical can detoxify itself easier. You will understand from within which solutions are the best for your body now, in terms of detox, antiparasitic, etc. You'll know it from within, and you'll heal eventually, purify your body on all the levels, organs, glands, cells. Transmission will also help you to cultivate this the same frequency whenever you remember this transmission, so that you can restore and repair your DNA, dissolve any corrupt DNA. And enjoy longevity. Balance, peace and bliss. Your auric field will be purified, enlivened, lighter, lit up from within. What? So this is powerful initiation, also activation. There will be warmth, there will be alignments, there will be activation of glands, increased metabolism. So you eat nurturing foods, healthy fats, greens, chlorophyll, chlorella, green
Right.
mixes. The most important is not to overdo with supplements, because if you take this and that, have in stages. For 1 month you take one, so discontinue. Take a little break and something else, because when you overload, you can also affect kidneys in a negative way. So just a tip. Again, I repeat myself, after this transmission, take plenty of water, preferably with lemon, lime, just a pinch of salt. You might also take charcoal. If you take charcoal, double the consumption of water. I'm just saying for the next 3-4 days after the transmission, you balance out. You start feeling more meditative or relaxed, or want to like just rest, so you just rest, because it's strong transmission. And then see what comes further. It carries a lot of benefits. Certain things will start coming into your conscious mind, those which have to be let go of. You'll see a lot of things in different perspective, in a different light, from a different perspective. All right.